Good morning. Thank you. This assembly will please come to order and remain standing while the college chaplain, the Reverend Jana Roche, delivers the invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we are here today to celebrate the life that we've participated in on this hill. Our feelings of pride and joy, owing to what we have achieved, are mixed with feelings of distress and sadness over what we are leaving. As we wander through our memories, we give thanks for the life lessons we've learned, for the opportunities we've had to grow and change, and for the fruits of the friendships that have become so substantial in our lives. As we affirm the experiences of relationship, of accomplishment, and of all that has touched our lives with mystery and hope these past years, may we discover the strength, the will, and the commitment to do that for which we were created. We ask this for the sake of ourselves and for the sake of the world to which we all belong. Amen.
Please remain standing while we sing America the Beautiful, the text of which is in your program. Please be seated. It is now my honor to introduce to you the 18th President of Hamilton College, Eugene M. Tobin.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome to Commencement. This is a splendid day, a day of celebration, a joyous, precious, truly memorable occasion when we pay tribute to our graduating seniors, their families and friends, when we honor the singular achievements of our honorary degree recipients, when we acknowledge the dedication and commitments of our faculty and staff, and when we bid goodbye and farewell to the members of the class of 1996. The late American historian Richard Hofstadter once wrote that if history is the thread of public identity, then memory is the thread of personal identity. To the members of the class of 1996, I would ask you to remember what you see and feel this morning, because nothing gives more meaning to life than our memories. Every senior who walks across the stage will have two very strong sets of memories. The first will be of family, the memories of your parents' love, affection, and personal sacrifice that has brought you to this point in your life. And because graduation is a very special family occasion, I would ask all of our parents and grandparents, siblings and friends to rise and receive the gratitude and appreciation of everyone here today. The second set of memories our graduates will carry with them represents the knowledge and wisdom provided by their professors and the friendship and respect earned during the past 4 years. Hamilton has one of the most committed liberal arts faculties in America, and I would ask my colleagues on the faculty to please stand and receive the appreciation of all of us for the exceptional roles you have played in your students' lives. This morning, we also wish to recognize the retirement of 3 gifted, dedicated members of the Hamilton faculty. In your program, you will find brief biographical sketches about Professors Stephen Bonta, Leland Bud Craddy, and Ruben Chalakian. Professor Craddy is with us today, and I would ask Bud to stand and be recognized. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Kevin W. Kennedy, a member of the class of 1970, who brings greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Gene. Good morning. And on behalf of the trustees of Hamilton College, it's my pleasure to welcome family, friends, faculty and staff, and all the members of the Hamilton family, and especially the class of 1996. We are delighted to have all of you here today for this celebration. The class of 1996 begins its postgraduate life on a most auspicious note. Over 96% of the class contributed to the class gift, which is really an incredible percentage by any measure, and that gift will be used to fund a High Ropes Challenge course for the use of the Hamilton community. We thank you, class of 1996, for that. While most of the class of 96 will leave the Hill today, you will take with you Hamilton wherever you go. Last Monday, I was in Singapore meeting with one of my colleagues, Matt Fremont Smith, Hamilton class of 1984. Clinton seemed very far away from tropical Asia. And I just want to point out to our visitors today that this is not the normal weather here. You should all know it snowed here last Sunday. That is much more representative. Anyway, Matt and I were soon talking about Hamilton and our experiences here. And he reached around and pulled out of his desk a list of the 7 other Hamiltonians who were in Singapore that he'd received from our friendly alumni office. When you learn that there's an active alumni association in Singapore, you realize how powerful our bonds are to this place. Class of 1996, we welcome you to Hamilton's alumni family. We applaud your accomplishments here, and we're going to miss you. But knowing that wherever you go, and whatever you do, you're going to take Hamilton with you, we look forward with pride to your future accomplishments, and we thank you. Godspeed. Now, I'd like to introduce Christine Neufeld, the winner of the James Soper Merrill Prize, to speak on behalf of the graduating class.
Good morning. On behalf of the graduating class of 1996, I would like to welcome you today to our commencement. Most of us sitting here today in our caps and gowns have come through a very rigorous week of winding down our Hamilton careers, and I think that along the way, we may have managed to hit every emotion possible. So please forgive us if we seem a little fatigued or war-weary. Looking back, if I had to choose one word to describe life at college, I think I would say change, or possibly even instability. 4 years ago, when we arrived on campus for the first time as Hamilton students, there was an overwhelming feeling of uncertainty permeating the campus. I, for one, remember asking myself on that first day, what evil thing had I done to deserve this cruel and unusual punishment? Hundreds of miles away from anything or anyone that looked even remotely familiar, battling the extreme heat, which I later found out is not usually a problem up here. Trying to cram all of my belongings into a quad in Kirkland, I wondered what I had done to deserve total abandonment by my parents. I remember looking back that first night over the whole day, when I had just about exhausted my capacity for telling people my name, my hometown, and my high school, and thinking that college was a really strange place. Looking back now, it seems to have all gone by so fast, though I know that retrospect has a funny way of sugarcoating things. The class that came in here 4 years ago is not the class that will walk out today. We've changed, we've grown, we have tried hard to find our place in the world. We have experienced laughter and loss. We have failed and we have succeeded. After 4 years, we have finally reached the point at which walking down the path takes twice as long because there are so many people to say hello to. We're finally at the point at which we can invite our professors for a beer or go to their houses for dinner and interesting conversation. We finally know the ins and outs of Hamilton, including, at least for some, how to find a specific suite in Babbitt or Millbank. And we're finally about to leave. Before we go anywhere, however, we must acknowledge that we were never really abandoned on that first day, not even close. The caps and gowns that we wear today are as much a symbol of the achievement of our families and friends back home and the faculty and the staff at this school as they are for us. I know that my parents, at least, have grown up a lot since I went to college. We have only come this far with your help, and we thank you for being our support, our inspiration, our families away from home, and our friends. Saying goodbye is something that we've had to do many times in the last 4 years. It will not be easy to leave the Hill without looking back on all the great experiences we have had and all the people who have touched our lives. Perhaps it is easier when we realize that we take a piece of them with us as we move on in the world. We won't forget the faculty and administrators who have shared their knowledge with us and who have become our friends. We won't forget the relationships we have formed while doing community service, nor will we forget lab partners, suite mates, or teammates. We won't forget our classmate and friend, Mark Cox, who should be here graduating with us today. Each experience, each encounter we have had with another person has somehow made a lasting impression on us and has changed the way we view the world. With this new perspective, we can have the courage to move on, knowing that we are never alone. Happy graduation.
Thank you very much, Christine. It's now my pleasure to call upon the Dean of the Faculty, Bobby Fong, for the presentation of special awards and honors.
Thank you. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by calling to your attention the names of the seniors who have been awarded concentration honors by their departments. That list is to be found in the program just following the list of the degree candidates. Concentration honors are awarded to those students that have achieved distinguished levels of work and are so recognized by the teachers in their disciplines. They deserve your applause. I also call your attention to the list of fellowships and prize scholarships on the next 2 pages. Most of these were awarded about 2 weeks ago at Class and Charter Day. The list now carries the names of the other prizes which have been determined since then. May I ask for your applause for these prize winners? It is also my honor to present 3 students to whom we will make awards today. First, the salutatorian for the class of 1996 is Kija Fu. A native of the People's Republic of China, Kija is graduating as a double major in mathematics and physics. This past academic year, he was a senior fellow, a special program reserved for no more than 7 members of the senior class, in which they dispense with normal coursework and pursue a special project in depth. Kija is the first Hamilton student to pursue 2 senior fellowship projects, in neural networks and computers and in quantum theory. And his faculty directors state that his investigations have resulted in publishable papers in each field. Kija has been lauded as a student who comes along once every 30 years, one who presses professors to keep up with him. One of his instructors wrote about the aftermath of a conversation with him. Great, there goes my lectures for the rest of the week. Hamilton sends him on to graduate work at Harvard, where he can keep them on their toes for a while. I am pleased to present as class salutatorian Kija Fu. The valedictorian for the class of 1996, who will address you later in the program, is Stoiko Nikolov. The valedictorian is the student who has the highest cumulative grade point average, and Stoiko achieved this as a double major in economics and mathematics. A native of Bulgaria, Stoiko's honors thesis in economics was a study of how Bulgarian firms reacted to the change from a state command economy to one in which free markets played an important role. His honors thesis in mathematics had to do with network theory, with particular application to the behavior of queues or lines in the college dining halls. He is going on to do graduate work in operations research at the University of North Carolina, where the faculty has a similar interest in applied research in such areas as airline scheduling. So the next time your plane for Florida is late. Stoiko was a member of the college squash team and a tutor at the Quantitative Literacy Center in math, economics, physics, and a little bit of Russian on the side. The highest accolade paid him was from a fellow student who said, "Stoiko has already learned and forgotten more stuff than I'll ever know." I present Stoiko Nikolov. The James Soper Merrill Prize is given to the student who, in character and influence, has best typified the highest ideals of the college. The winner this year you have already met, Christine Margaret Neufeld. Christine, who is graduating as a concentrator in biology, was described by one of her instructors as merging the best of genuine academic interest and success with involvement in helping the lives of others. Few students at this college have reached outside themselves to others as much as Christine has. She has been involved in HAVOC, the Hamilton Action Volunteers Outreach Coalition, since she first came to the Hill, and she has been the director for the past 2 years. She has also participated in and directed the Alternative Spring Break Program, working for Habitat for Humanity, building homes in Utica, Florida, and elsewhere. This past year, she also started Hamilton's Students Against Drunk Driving program. A religion professor described Christine as well-placed to deal with the postmodern world. On the one hand, she is quite deeply grounded in the faith tradition, one which she does not agree with on every point, but embraces in a committed and personalized way. On the other, she sees the value of secularism, because it has opened doors for many people in Western society who might otherwise be excluded. She is comfortably and confidently grounded in her own sense of self with no sense of smugness, but at the same time reasonably at peace with the fact that much of the rest of the world may march to quite a different beat, unquote. This sense of self, together with the fact that she sees the value in translating commitment into service, makes her a remarkable young woman, and yet, in quite wonderful ways, a principled and mature individual who represents the best of Hamilton College. I present to you Christine Neufeld.
It is our custom now to honor certain other individuals who, through their life's work and experience, exemplify the values to which we know and are assured the class of 1996 will aspire. The men and women whom we honor today have brought credit to this nation, and we take great pride in recognizing their achievements. I call upon the Honorable Saul M. Linowitz, trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present for the degree Doctor of Laws, Harry Blackman.
A few years ago, in a dissenting opinion in a case decided by the United States Supreme Court, you eloquently expressed your earnest desire that the court read the Constitution in a way that comports with the dictates of fundamental justice and recognizes that compassion need not be exiled from the province of judging. During the 24 years that you were a member of our nation's highest tribunal, you wrote more than 1,000 opinions, all of them faithful to that reading. True to your belief that judgment grows with experience and learning, they also reflect an exceptional open-mindedness and a willingness to rethink old views. At the same time, they are unwaveringly consistent in what may be termed the qualities of mind and heart, in rigorous legal reasoning, and certainly in compassion. Although you retired from the bench 2 years ago, the force of your opinions continues to be felt today and will be long into the future. You have made major contributions to the advancement of civil liberties in such areas as the right to privacy, commercial speech, and alien rights, where you pioneered the court's governing doctrine. However, it is in the struggle for women's rights and racial justice that your voice has been most resoundingly and effectively heard. Because of your profound caring and passionate commitment, you have most honorably served as the conscience of the court in our time. Harry A. Blackman, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Mr. Justice, it's a great pleasure.
Thank you very much, officer.
Thank you for coming.
You're overly generous.
Well deserved. Thank you, sir. I call upon Milton F. Phileas Jr., trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, it is with great pride that I present Harry Sweets Edison for the degree of Doctor of Music.
By all accounts, jazz fans thrive on a steady diet of sweets. Harry Sweets Edison, that is. Long among the most gifted and distinctive trumpet players in the world of jazz, you are unquestionably without rival when it comes to the subtle sweetness of your sound. With a deceptively casual approach and often puckish style, combined with timing that is utter perfection, you reward the listener with lyricism of the most unique and seductive kind. At the age of 12, after hearing the legendary Louis Armstrong play, you were inspired to take up the trumpet. And you managed to persuade your mother to buy you your first one for $7, with a down payment of 25 cents. That was some 68 years ago.
Yes.
And you have been playing ever since. From local bands to a long string of one-night stands with the celebrated Count Basie Orchestra. You learned your trade from talented colleagues, as well as tempo from the incomparable Count. You later lent your considerable support on stage and in the recording studio to virtually all the great soloists of our time, including Billie Holiday, Josephine Baker, and Frank Sinatra, to name but a few. Along the way, you have not only lived the history of jazz, but through your superb artistry, you have also helped to write its history. Harry Edison, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Music of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Congratulations, Sweets. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I call upon Esther S. Knipe, Professor of History, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Carl Hayden for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
In 1793, when the charter for Hamilton's predecessor, the Hamilton Oneida Academy, was granted, it was signed by the first Chancellor of the New York State Board of Regents, George Clinton, who was also the state's first governor. Last year, you became the 34th Chancellor of the Board of Regents and the 5th graduate of this college to hold that venerable office. You now preside over a body that for more than 2 centuries has set policy for every level of education from kindergarten to graduate school within this state. while practicing law in what you have termed Greater Metro Elmira. You generously devoted your spare time to community service and became involved in the cause of education as a member and president of the Elmira School Board. Elected to the State Board of Regents in 1990, you quickly established a reputation in Albany for candor and conviction. Believing that education is much too important to be left to the politicians, you have fought to preserve the independence and the integrity of the Regents, while at the same time embarking upon an ambitious program of educational reform. Dedicated to the betterment of education for all the state's children, you have called for greater academic rigor and higher standards in every school. And under your leadership, the Regents are now taking measures to achieve that goal. We salute your efforts, and with particular pleasure on this occasion, which marks the graduation of your son, Matt, from Hamilton. Carl T. Hayden, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl. Congratulations, Carl. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Such a thrill.
I call upon Walter Beinecke Jr., trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present for the degree of Doctor of Letters, David McCullough.
As one who has never lost sight of the story in history, you have brought the past back to vibrant life for millions of Americans. You are our nation's preeminent public historian, with an audience that is as disparate as it is vast. Fashioned from meticulous research and presented in engrossing narrative prose, your books have focused on a great natural disaster, the Johnstown flood, and on heroic and epic human achievements, the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, the building of the Panama Canal. Your works have also given us penetrating insight into the shaping and unfolding of presidential lives, most notably in the Pulitzer Prize-winning Truman, which you spent a decade painstakingly documenting and which has been hailed as a masterpiece of American biography. While your volumes are known to a vast readership, your face and voice are equally familiar to viewers of public television. As host of the American Experience series and narrator of numerous documentaries, including the highly acclaimed Civil War series, you have helped bring history into our living rooms. Less widely known are your many activities on behalf of recovering and preserving the past, such as your efforts to protect America's most important historic sites, to which President Clinton paid tribute to you in a White House ceremony last year. If, as you once observed, history aids our navigation in perilous times, then we are most fortunate indeed in having you as our dedicated and far-seeing pilot and guide. David McCullough, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Letters of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Very much.
I call upon Daniel F. Chambliss, Associate Professor of Sociology, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Mary Mundinger for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
With the shortage of primary care physicians, combined with the increased scope and expertise of nursing care, our nation's healthcare delivery system has been undergoing fundamental change. The nurse practitioner, either autonomously or in collaboration with the physician, is bringing better primary care to the public, and under your guidance for the past decade as Dean, the Columbia University School of Nursing has been in the vanguard of educating nurses for their new and expanding role. You have been called one of the most creative leaders in academic nursing in this country. You preside over a century-old school with a tradition of excellence that you have done much to enhance. Emphasizing clinical practice while instituting innovative programs, you have brought the school to the forefront of education in advanced practice nursing. In addition, through your publications and speeches, research, demonstration, and training projects, and work as a consultant and advisor, you have become a leading spokesperson for new ways of delivering health care to the community and home. In helping redefine nursing's mission as it heads toward the 21st century, you contribute not only to the advancement of your profession, but also to future improved health care for all of us. Mary O'Neill Mundinger, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. Congratulations, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
I call upon J. Carter Bako, trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, it is my honor to present for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, Sidney Wertimer.
An economist passionately devoted to teaching, you have acquired many other claims to College Hill fame since you were first hired over a very bad transatlantic telephone line when you were finishing your PhD at the London School of Economics. Although you weren't certain what rank and salary you were being offered, on that day 44 years ago, you came to Hamilton anyway, to our great and lasting good fortune. In subsequent years as Associate Dean, you were the top cop who somehow managed to get to the bottom of every student prank and caper. Also, you were Overseer of Administration and Finance as Provost and Master of Academic Pageantry as College Marshal. And on the side, there was your amateur acting, semi-professional after-dinner speaking, and always volunteer firefighting. Above all, you instructed, advised, counseled, and cajoled, and in a variety of ways, you have influenced the lives of countless students. Some of them went on to become corporate CEOs and captains of finance, while others entered public service or the groves of academia. All recall your warm concern and commitment, both academically and personally. Although you formally retired from the faculty after almost 4 decades of service in 1991, we are delighted that you continue to teach your now fabled accounting course and remain an energetic and visible presence on the campus. We are also delighted to recognize you as exemplifying the spirit of community, of teachers closely engaged with students in a common enterprise that has long been the hallmark of a Hamilton education. Sidney Wertimer, Jr., acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges, in token whereof we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood. I call upon Howard J. Schneider, trustee, to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Mr. President, I have the honor and privilege to present for the degree Doctor of Laws, Walter Wriston.
"50 years ago this June, not by choice, but through circumstance, you entered the then stodgy, risk-averse world of banking, where innovation was practically an alien concept. You joined Citibank and speedily advanced up its executive ladder. Believing that all life is the management of risk, not its elimination, you applied your vision and entrepreneurial flair in making the most of opportunity. By the time of your retirement as chairman and CEO in 1984, Citibank had become the world's preeminent financial institution, and international banking had been transformed, thanks largely to your achievements. Besides introducing a host of creative financial instruments, such as the negotiable certificate of deposit, you helped pioneer the application of high technology to financial services. Throughout your career, you gave powerful impetus to technological innovation, which has had an enormous and permanent impact on the way all of us transact our financial affairs. The electronic banking of today, epitomized by the ever-handy automatic teller machine, is among your legacies. Beyond banking, however, you have served your country as head of the President's Economic Advisory Board, and while pursuing conservation efforts at your country home, you continue to keep a sharp eye on our global village and to offer cogent comments on the ongoing technological revolution in which you have played a major role. Walter B. Wriston, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges. In token whereof, we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood.
Thank you very much.
Bend down a little. I got you. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, sir. The most wonderful subjects imaginable and the greatest mysteries, people and time. What, he asks, could be better? What could be more interesting than that? Very little, perhaps, except for the opportunity to hear personally from a man who cares passionately about both people and life. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1996 commencement speaker, David McCullough.
Mr. President, fellow distinguished honorees, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty, proud parents, members of the great class of 1996, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this highest of honors. Behind me are the other honorees who have distinguished themselves in such a variety of fields, and I can speak with absolute conviction that as their spokesman this morning, I know that for each of them, this moment is as proud and as memorable as any in their lives. You honor us, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. One of the lessons of history, one of the most important lessons in history, is that no man or woman is self-made. Nothing happens in isolation, and none of us have arrived where we are here today without a great deal of help from a great many other people, some present, some not present. I would certainly not be here were it not for the most important person in my life, my editor-in-chief, my brain trust, my mission control, my first wife, my present wife, Rosalie Barnes McCullough, who is over here. So So here we are, on the hill, Clinton, New York, latitude 43 degrees 4 minutes north, longitude 75 degrees 23 minutes west, May 19th, 1996, on the verge of the 21st century. But I want to start with some words written in the 16th century, during the Renaissance. These words by Francesco Guicciardini. Past things shed light on future ones. The world was always of a kind. What is and will be was at some other time. The same things come back, but under different names and colors. Not everybody recognizes them, but only who is wise and considers them diligently. I love that passage for its meaning and for the beauty of the prose. And I love it because I love to say Francesco Guicciardini. My remarks in the main are addressed to the graduating class of 1996. If you have not heard this already, you will be hearing it soon and often, and it will drive you up the wall. Welcome to the real world, they will say. Or, how do you like it here in the real world? Never forget, never ever forget that the Renaissance is the real world. Hamilton College is the real world. Mozart is the real world. And Willa Cather, the poetry of the Golden Gate Bridge, the eloquence of Ella Fitzgerald, the engineering of a grasshopper, they are all the real world. The Song of Solomon, the Sermon on the Mount, Lincoln's second inaugural address, the real world. Carry it with you. Grow with it. Enjoy it. Reading aloud to a child is the real world. Read The Little Engine That Could. Read Dr. Seuss for your benefit as well as for theirs. Now, personally, I'm a Horton Hatches the Eggman. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird, hatching her eggs. I'm tired and I'm bored with kinks in my legs. For sitting here day after day, it's work how I hate it, I'd much rather play. Dr. Seuss, the real world. And when you read it, it becomes part of you, as does the great music and the great poetry and the great art of your time and of all time. And don't limit yourself to the experience only of your own relatively short time on Earth because of the biological clock that ticks for everybody. No more reason to be provincial in time than in space. No reason whatsoever to cut yourself off from the larger experience of all those who have gone before us. And all of us here, every one of us, owes so much of what we are and what we have and what we can be because of those who went before us. Our great institutions, our hospitals, our schools, our laws, our traditions, our music, all created by others before us. And to be indifferent to that isn't just to be stupid, it's to be rude. We have so much to be grateful for. You know what your SAT scores were. You know how tall you are. You know the color of your eyes. You know your class standing, your final grades. But what about your determination? You know there are people sleeping in the streets of our cities. You've seen them. You know there is the poison of bigotry infesting our society. You've heard it. You know that we are poisoning our rivers and our skies. You've smelled it. You've choked on it. You've shed tears over the tragedy of it. But what are you going to do about it? Do you have the will? You know what opportunity you have, more than ever before. You know how many different kinds of mountains there are to climb, how many books to be written, music to be composed, diseases to cure. But do you have the will? Do we, all of us, have the will? When I think, looking at you today, how good-looking you are, how much brain power you represent, how much horsepower you represent, I feel very good for the future of not just this country, but of the world. Never, ever lose your energy and never, ever lose your idealism. Yes, I'm an idealist, Woodrow Wilson said. That's how I know I'm an American. We need you. You are needed. You're not just welcome, you are needed. Have the courage to be what you want to be, and remember that if you're concerned about success, it's not a problem. Real success is finding your life work in work that you love. That's it. Don't worry about making a living. Don't worry about popularity or fame. Make what you do and what you make count more than what you own. Find work you love. I am especially proud, especially thrilled to be now one of the colonials, because of 4 men who have been for me shining examples, all graduates of this college. 3 I know very well personally, 1 I wish I knew, but feel I know because of a film I worked on. Saul Linowitz, class of 1935. William Lewis, Hamilton, class of 1951. Robert Moses, class of 1956. And David Rubin, class of 1965. Saul Linowitz pioneered a whole new industrial breakthrough in American life with a great career at the Xerox Corporation, and then went on to be one of the peacemakers of our time, distinguishing himself in diplomacy, both in the settlement of the Panama Canal treaties and work in the Middle East. One of the finest Americans I have ever known. Bill Lewis, again, distinguished himself in a great career in diplomacy and then became the head of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. We heard an awful lot recently, a lot of ill-chosen, ignorant words about the arts not mattering. The attack on the NEA and the NEH were to a large extent an exercise in stupidity. They said the arts, they're trying to prevent me from saying this. They said the arts were only for the effete and the elite. Did you know that Mr. Luer's Metropolitan Museum of Art draws more people every year, year in, year out, than all the sports events in the city of New York combined? Over 5 million people. Of the great, courageous civil rights leaders of our time, in my view, Robert Moses stands in the forefront. Robert Moses, Hamilton class of 1956, who went to Mississippi in the terrifying, extremely dangerous summer of 1964 to lead the registration voter drive, who has made education his career and is now pioneering the teaching of algebra. And David Rubin, one of the finest documentary filmmakers in America, producer of such distinguished programs as LBJ, FDR, and the poetry series on public television. I asked David Grubin, with whom I've worked for many years, if he were coming back to Hamilton to make a film about Hamilton, the Hamilton that changed his life, what would he pick? What symbol would he choose to film as the keystone of his experience? And he thought a while, and then he said, I would film the stacks in the library, because it was there that I found out that learning is a process of discovery. Hit and miss often produces a great many hits. And it was there that I began, there at Hamilton, that I began to think. Now, we hear a very great deal today, and understandably, there is an unending fanfare about the information highway, about the wonders of electronic communication, instant communication. Please, please remember that information isn't learning. Information isn't learning. If that were so, if information were all we needed, then to be educated, all you would have to do would be to memorize the World Almanac. Now, if you memorized the World Almanac, would you be educated? Hardly. You'd be a freak. Don't let the computer, the games of the computer, become your hole in the sand in which you stick your head. Don't let virtual reality substitute for the real world that you have come to know and understand and love through the experience of this college. I'm here to a very large degree because I believe with everything I stand for that colleges like Hamilton, the great, good, long-standing, small liberal arts colleges, are the lifeblood of American education. And one of the things you've learned to do here is work. And I hope that you found that ease and happiness are not synonymous. I hope you found that books and learning are not disjunctive. Books, read books, carry books. Read the authors of our time. Be of our time. Yes, certainly. Read Wendell Berry. Read William Trevor. Read Ann Tyler. Carry the books with you wherever you go, and you will never have any downtime. Never any time wasted in any airport, anywhere you travel, no matter where. And remember that with books, in all education, all learning, go teachers. And you now are becoming teachers. You will be teachers, irrespective of your profession. And remember that whatever you teach, everything that counts is attitude. A marvelous, insightful professor of child psychology at the University of the University of Pennsylvania, Margaret McFarland, well, I have to correct it again, University of Pittsburgh, Margaret McFarland. I'm so determined to get across what she said that I'm skipping too fast. What she said is that attitude is everything, and that attitude cannot be taught, attitude is caught. And when you teach in a classroom or an office or on the drill field or in the theater or wherever, your attitude, your enthusiasm, interest, commitment is caught by those who are around you, and that's what counts. Study. Study people. Study life. As Barbara Jordan said, attend. Attend. And be citizens of the world in the spirit that there are no foreigners, in the spirit that there are no strangers. Be always welcoming to strangers under any and all circumstances wherever you go. And wherever you go, however you go, sometime, somewhere along the line, do something for your country.
And now, I call upon Dean Fahn to present the class of 1996.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 1996, will you please rise?
Acting on the authority of the Board of Regents of the State of New York and the trustees of Hamilton College, I confer upon you each and severally the degree of Bachelor of Arts of Hamilton College with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. In token whereof, I shall present you with the diploma as you come forward.
I'd like to ask the class to be seated for a moment. Ultimately, I shall break the suspense by calling each degree candidate forward individually. But first, I have three preliminary announcements and remarks. First, I would like to recognize three visiting students from abroad who have shared this year with us. I call upon each of them to stand. Maxim Koropov, Alexander P.M. Slater, and Natasha Sopieva. Let us recognize them. Second, the most important announcement I have is with regard to applause for individual degree candidates. I am charged with reading the names of the candidates so that they proceed smartly across the stage, somewhere between a double step and a sprint. If we attempt to applaud each candidate, our response will drown out the name of the subsequent recipient, and we will run the danger of missing lunch. So I ask that we restrain our expressions of ecstasy and wonder to the end, where we can burst out in prolonged and heartfelt congratulations. Finally, photography is indeed allowed. The areas provided are the two bleacher sections to the left and right of the stage, designated photo areas. Approach them, please, by coming down the aisles just in front of the bleachers. Do not use the center or the side aisles, since this will impede your son's or daughter's progress. Please note that a professional photograph of the President conferring the degree will be taken automatically as each diploma is presented. So, let us begin. Seniors from A to Ks will go up to the platform on your left side and come down on the right side. Seniors from the second half of the alphabet, L through Z, will go up on your right and come down on the left. David Repert Abrazino. Daniel Benjamin Edelman. Elizabeth Ann Affleck. Uzman Bashir Ahmad. Chung Ah An. Christopher Charles Airy. Rena Abdul Raouf Al-Halakh. Ann Jones Allen. Michelle Tanya Aluton. Elisa Amaro. Louis Joseph Amo Jr. Timothy Edward Anderson. Jason Philip Andrus, Galen Howe Archibald, Matthew David Armand, Whitney Nichols Ashbridge, David John Alizio, Nathan Robert Adelot, Gavin Samuel Barber, Courtney Ann Beach, Penelope Noel Beard, Brian Paul Bellinger, Brian Douglas Bellucci, Roxanne Marie Benjamin, Michael Maurice Benton, Benjamin Aaron Berkman, Carrie Lynn Bernstein, Tara Margot Bernstein, Edward S. Belayetz, Marie Ann Bishko, Michelle Jane Bishop, Megan Louise Blackburn, Paul Joseph Bleekman, Mark Jonas Block, Andrew Burns Bowman, John Dunning Bowman, Brandy Ann Bonnet, Jared Hastings Bowling, Tabitha Marsh Bowling, Sean David Brady, Judy Rebecca Brandeis, Laura Collins Brereton, Brett David Bridges, Anna Cabot Brines, Kendall Edward Brooke, Leslie Ann Brown, Mark Evan Brown, Myron Alexander Brown, Naomi June Brown, David Peter Brunk, Sangita Budiraja, Elizabeth Lowell Bundy, Frederick Edmund Alexis Bush III, Michael Andrew Kalawa, Christian Edward Caligaris, James Caldwell Cason Jr., Gerald Michael Cheney Jr., David Wynan Chen, Emily Jane Clark, Matthew James Cleary, Brian Christopher Cohen, Jennifer Nicole Collins, Kimberly Ann Coven, Elisa Berhe Coons, Jonathan Bartlett Cooper, Christy Watson Cosby, Nellie Rose Costello, Elizabeth Lockwood Prairie, Heather Core Creeley, Ann Carol Crothers, Wiley Delancey Curtis, Jason George Delavegas, Jeffrey Michael Darling, Kara Shea Davis, Aisha Nicole Day, Grant Thomas Day, Deborah Ann Del Signor, Natasha Marie Derrickson, Todd Carey Dvorsitz, Sarah Natalie Doan, Emily Ann Docken, Eric Christopher D'Onofrio, Jennifer Ann Dowd, Marcia Keitha Ann Drummond, Lori Ann Eaton, Rebecca K. Egan, Emily Jura Inglade, Natalie Dominique Etter, Justin Armel Factor, Sarah Elizabeth Falconberry, Mario Christopher Fallon, Thomas Eric Farron, Carl Sincata Fiore, Elizabeth Ann Fisk, Jonathan Ruan Fletcher, Maureen Ann Flynn, Patrick Michael Flynn, Spencer Martin Foley, Ian Mackay Forbes Jones, Amanda Kane Fox, Benjamin Scott Fox, Timothy Corning Fox, Kija Fu, Amy Fung, Maylene Garcia, Gregory William Gardner, Margaret Fletcher Garrett, Ashley McCullough Gates, David Hartley Game, Christopher Stephen Gelvin, Timna Genslinger, William Daley Gibbons, Annis Million Gilbert, Daniel Joseph Glass, Randy Dawn Glass, Robert James Goldie, Jeffrey Michael Gordon, Jason Michael Gould, Amelia Merchant Graby, Max Daniel Gray, Brian David Green, Kate Elizabeth Green, Monique LaShawn Green, Alexandra Amelia Green, Jessica Alexis Green, Ann Carter Griffin, Aaron Patra Rogan, Sean Patrick Guerin, Deborah Lee Hamilton, Emily Jill Hannon, Justin Yeager Harbison, Jonathan Harrington, Matthew Conrad Hayden, Stephanie Kyle Hedges, Deirdre Beth Hirsink, Judson Roberts Henderson, Scott Randall Henry, Jennifer Jody Hess, Ronald John Heavier, Matthew Spencer Hicks, Amy Elizabeth Higbee, Angela Louise Marie Hilbring, Tracy Lee Hildebrand, Robert Tyler Hodgson, Jenny Elsbeth Hepner, Samuel J. Hoffman, Jeffrey Michael Holden, Amy Rebecca Howland, Brian Haynes Holt, Letitia Siobhan Howard, Kara Lisa Ruby, Chao Chun Su, Stephen Bernard Hudek III, Kristen Louise Holst, Dina Sue Ingerman, John Jefferson Innes, Kimberly Jean Jacobs, Nicholas Allen Jacobs, Philip Stephan Yeager, Amanda Beth Jenks, Jennifer Megan John, Jennifer Suzanne Johns, Karen Samantha Johnson, Carl Amo Johnson, Mariah Pepper Johnson, Margaret McMillan Jones, Timothy Randall Jones, Jason James Kaiser, Dimos Kapuniaridis, Melissa Ann Kassler, Justin Benjamin Caswan, Thomas Evans Kellogg, Gertrude Millar Kiernan, Catherine Potter Kiernan, Samantha Brock Kiernan, Peter James Andrew Kimber, Neely King, Jeffrey Lloyd Kingsley, Michael Sean Kingston, Erin Lorraine Kennelly, Christy Marie Keisner, Abigail Elizabeth Klein, Elizabeth Ann Nice, Christian Conrad Meyer Knudsen, Tammy Ann Koch, Mickey Kodama, Nicholas John Kogut, Carissa Roseanne Kuntz, Paul Carl Corrine, John David Kowalczyk Jr., Anne Kathleen Kupinski. Mary Miwa Lai, Diane Marie Lally, Christopher David Lassell, Oscar M. Lial, Helen Shungna Lee, Rochelle Legia Leeson, Jennifer Marie Lenoci, Todd Joseph Leonard, Jennifer Nicole Lushinsky, Jennifer Lessick, Adrienne Leslie Livin, Alan Spencer Lewis, Jason John Lizio, Matthew Harold Lowe Piccolo, Jennifer Louise Marie Latufu, Alan Lemuel McCracken III, Carolyn Stevens McDuffie, Duncan Kenneth McPhail, Gavin Rushmore McPhail, Lisa Ann Magnarelli, Nicholas George Malafis, Matthew Justin Malatish, Gina Elizabeth Manganiello, Garrett Sutherland Mann, Tony Martelli, Meredith Ann Lascali, Sarah Corinne Mason, Jason Masters, Michael Virock Mathras, Fiona Claire McCormick, Christina Mary McDermott, Erin Patricia McInerney, Kevin Michael McIntyre, Daniel Edward McKenna, Jeremy Seth McKittrick, Sarah Crawford McNelly, Ashley Reed Megna, Emily Beth Merkin, Susan Lynn Mary, Lisa Christine Mesereau, Heather Teresa Messing, Holly Marie Mestemacher, Gabriel Saul Meyer, Christopher Eric Michaels, Catherine Lee Michaels, Aaron Scully Mitchell, Carrie Mark Mitchell, Gavin Paul Maliner, Kevin Paul Monahan, Douglas Perry Monroe, Elizabeth Joyce Mooney, Rial Jessica Morgowitz, Lindsay Fisk Morris, William Herbert Morris, John Pomeroy Morrison, Richard Edwin Morse, Robert Allen Mosier, Hazim Musa, Curry Ann Moyer, Joseph Mark Mrozinski, Joseph Anthony Mucha, Ian Thomas Murphy, William Joseph Murphy II, Heather Lee Mustard, David John Gerard Nastasi, Christine Margaret Neufeld, Rachel Maya Newman, Jennifer Swift Newman, Spencer Ray Newman, Jennifer Lee Nemec, Stoico Nikolov, Christopher Paul O'Donnell, Bradford Coolidge Ullman, Megan Elizabeth Ogden, Akiku Okusu, Matthew Dryden Oughton, Kelly Ann Overton, Scott Michael Pace, Megan Marie Perry, Anthony Joseph Pazik, Brandon George Patey, Susan Elizabeth Paul, Joshua Edward Paulson, William Walter Pezant, John Arthur Pearson, Elizabeth Antoinetta Petruzza, Michaela Veronica Pfeiffer, Angie Rebecca Phillips, Wendy Garrett Phillips, Michelle Lee Pickett, James Michael Pipernin, Tara Elizabeth Panansky, Richard Michael Pizzo, Philip Yuxing Po, Lloyd Stephen Ponanish, Stephen Benefic Primus, Nahed Ibn Rayman, Yogesh Dayarum Ramani, Michael Lawrence Regis, Megan S. Reichgott, Elizabeth Martin Riley, John Peter Riley, Arthur Jerome Relaford, Jr., Stephanie Jean Reynolds, Eric Ritter III, Kristen Elizabeth Ring, Ezra Hoyt Ripple V, Eric Stephen Ritvo, William Montgomery Robb, Eric William Roberts, Amanda Austin Rowley, Catherine Mary Ryan, Catherine Bridges Sadler, Aaron Wade San Andres, Joseph Adam Sapporo III, Daniel Edward Sarzinski, Mark Douglas Savitsky, Kimberly Luana Schilling, Alexandra Dutton Schubert, Charity Dawn Scripture, John Rees Selby, Lynn Margaret Seapark, Joan Eleanor Surway, Kristen Chalverdian, Jessica Roscom Shalom, Jessica Ellen Shane, Gregory Francis Shea, Kizar Umjad Sheikh, Naeem Nizar Sheikh, Amelia Endicott Chevenel, Elizabeth Moran Sicko, Zahid Sadiq, Aaron Jack Simon, Jennifer Kiram Sin, Andrew Douglas Singer, Katrine Baker Citrick, John Charles Slack, Toby William Smith, Trina Marie Smith, Callie O'Brienham Soldner Prim, Heather Helen Sornberger, Peter Fitzgerald Sold, Kelly Ann Souza, Mary Cecilia Sprague, Allison Franklin Stakowitz, Cara Elizabeth Stanek, Edward John Stankus III, Peter Rule Stein, Andrew Page Stockwell, Brett Theodore Rufus Stratton, Clayton Thomas Sullivan, Devin Cross Sullivan. Ingrid Helen Sun. Karen Eileen Sweeney. Stephen James Sweeney. McRae Sykes II. Jason James Togliaferri. Harry Davis Taylor. Jane Shandley Taylor. Jonathan Fontaine Tiford. Rifat Baran Takora. Heather Tesorero. Matthew Standfast Thomas. Zachary Michael Thomas. Brian McKay Toohey. Jana Lee Tremblay. Irene Jimu. Anaid Matilda Ugorlean. Megan Elizabeth Ulrich. Catherine Hollinshead Vale. Misha Emily Valley. Lauren Ann Van Dieren. Leanne Durkeen Scarlett Van Vliet. Valerie Jean Vigneault. Christina Elizabeth Irene Fondurer Hildebrand. Samuel Mark Walker. Jennifer Maloney Walsh. Jonathan William Ward. Karen Constance Weber. Peter Grant Webster. Audrey Hope Weiner. Jocelyn Andrea Weinman. Adam Dolph Weiss. David Stanley Welch. Karen Lorraine Workoven. Jennifer Lynn Wheeler. James Ryan White. William Hooker Doolittle Whitman. Anna Margaret Wild. E. Bingham Breeze Williams. Sean E. Williams. Sarah Ann Williamson. Jennifer Ann Wilson. Mark Henning Worstrom. James William Wolotarski Jr. Lisa Shuping Wong. Sam J.H. Wright IV. Morgan Elizabeth Young. Justin John Zappia. Sterrit Hoyt Zinko. Agnes Ava Zigovich. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to present to you the class of 1996.
It is now my pleasure to call on Stoyko Nikolov to offer a few words of farewell on behalf of the class of 1996.
Good morning, President Tobin, honorable members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty, classmates, friends. Words fail to express how happy and highly honored I am to be up here today on this wonderful occasion, delivering this address. Today, May 19th, marks the end of 4 extremely cold years in Clinton, New York for the class of 1996. It is hard to believe how soon it all ended, given how long the winters are at this place. But on the bright side, today is also the beginning of our life in the real world. Without the protection of the Dean of Students' office and without the friendly social atmosphere on the Hill. But there's no reason to be afraid of this transition, because after our Hamilton experience, we are ready to face challenges and to adapt to changes, or at least we hope so. Though leaving this place closes a chapter in our lives, Hamilton will always stay with us in our memories. I would like to share some of the highlights of the last 4 years at Hamilton, as seen through the eyes of this Bulgarian. We have witnessed the advent and various success of new events, such as the common meal. This year, we saw the demise of Hallmark dining service and the genesis of Bon Appetit, which actually attempts to serve food in the dining halls. We have also become accustomed to the bronze disc on Martin's Way. During the winter months, it is very hard to believe that it is a map. But this fact becomes quite evident during the months of July and August, when there's nobody here. Unfortunately, this map is already outdated, largely due to the residential life decision of March 1995. And finally, I would like to share with you a personal fact. You would not believe how many times I had to confirm with people that my middle and last names are exactly the same. I would also like to tell you a little about how I ended up here at Hamilton. It all started 9 years ago when I entered the English language school in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, not knowing a word of English, none at all. Well, actually I knew 2 words, pen and dog. I was very scared and was thinking about going to the High School of Mathematics because I did not think I would be able to learn another language. But my mother insisted, and 3 years later, I found myself representing the English language school at the national competition for the 5 available spots at a group of high schools called the United World Colleges. The exams of this competition were quite easy. All we had to do is learn approximately 700 pages of text in physics, math, biology, and chemistry, word for word. So I studied as much as I could and tried to be optimistic. Unfortunately, the exams presented us with some of the most bizarre and twisted questions. And of course, some of those questions were nowhere to be found in the assigned text. I was devastated. I thought that my dream to study at the United World College would never come true. However, I did not give up my hopes, and deep down, I was thinking that there was some chance for me to make the cut. Somehow it happened, and I ended up at Lester Pearson College in Canada. 2 years later, after substantial fears during the application process, I came to Hamilton. After all I had heard during orientation about how hard college courses are, I finally saw the Hamilton grading scheme. At that point, I was not only scared, I was worried. An A was 95, while in Canada the top letter grade was given for 85 and above. In fact, I had never received a 95 before. I remember thinking to myself, it'll be okay, just try to stay in school. Well, I guess it all worked out okay. And I ended up getting some A's. The key is that at every critical junction in my life, I did not give up the hope that I can accomplish what I was aiming for. My 4 years at Hamilton helped me strengthen my confidence and resolve not to give up in the face of difficulties. And this is what I'm most thankful for. Here I learned that whatever it is you want to do, as long as it is reasonable, it is definitely worth pursuing. And the bottom line for this short life story is, don't give up. Give it your best shot. And you actually might end up enjoying it and getting a few A's on the side. At the end, I would like to thank several people who made my college experience so memorable. I'm particularly grateful to all my teachers for their dedication to teaching and their help throughout my college career. I would like to specifically thank my teacher and advisor, Professor Tim Kelly, who was always there to listen and guide me, and my thesis advisors, Professor Richard Beedind and Professor Derek Jones. I would also like to thank my friends Deborah Hamilton, Naeem Sheikh, Nahid Rahman, Shakir Ali, and all my friends in Delta Phi for their encouragement in hard moments and their great friendship. Dear members of the class of 1996, thank you all for the great 4 years. Finally, I would like to thank my family for the support, and my mother in particular, who is in the audience today. Thanks, Mom. Or alternatively in Bulgarian, благодаря ти, майко, много за всичко, което направи за мен. And finally, real final, I'm going to say what a valedictory speech should really contain. Goodbye and good luck.
Ralph Waldo Emerson once observed that the secret of education is respecting the student. And Henry Adams once noted that teachers affect eternity. They can never tell where their influence stops. For the past 44 years, Sidney Werdimer has been faithful to both Emerson and Adams, and I now call upon him for a very, very special farewell.
I am grateful to President Tobin for this opportunity to direct these remarks to the members of the graduating class. Fellow alumni, this is a day of great culminating achievement for you, primarily because we on the faculty have given you such a hard time over the last 4 years. You must be relieved. If you think back, somewhere during the middle of your first semester, half of you thought you were going to flunk out, and the other half had resolved to transfer. Now, this is a story I heard from Sir Robert Birley, the ex-headmaster of Eton, who was addressing a school convocation in London. He said that he had gone to a very small school in the British countryside, and when he was in third form, he realized that he was going to be number 1 in his class. Rather than saying anything about it to his parents, he let the announcement go forward in the post. His father soon showed him the headmaster's letter, which read, "Barely, first in a class of 26. Performance, bad. But the others, worse." Then Sir Robert went on to observe, "Now you know about standards. You can set high standards if you are selective. And now you know why we gave you such a hard time these last 4 years. We set very high standards. We did so because Hamilton is a very selective college. There were 3,549 applications for the 400 of you sitting out there today. And having made it, you should now have the confidence that you can go out and lick wildcats and lead. You will soon forget most of what you memorized these last 4 years, but you will never lose the most important thing we taught you, the ability to think critically, analytically, and creatively. So take courage. In my favorite phrase, a liberal arts education will train you for nothing, but it prepares you for everything. And although I've just told you about our high standards and your great accomplishment in being able to be here today, it won't really sink in until later on. At that point, you will realize that you are grateful that we gave you such a hard time. And at that point, we will not take it amiss if you express that gratitude with a fine financial flourish. This is the last time you will all be together as a class. So remember that in 3 years, your best friends on the Hill will be those of us here on the faculty. Come back often and say hello.
Thank you, Professor Werdemer. And now it is time, proudly, for us to send you on your way. We are confident that you have enriched our lives with friendship, and we are certain that you will carry an important part of this college with you wherever you go. And we are hopeful that you will always look back at your years on College Hill with pride and affection. And so now, on behalf of all of us who remain, I wish you many fortunate goings out and many, many more happy returns to the college that now proudly claims you as one of its own. God bless you.
Please rise. We will conclude the 1996 Hamilton College commencement with the benediction and recessional. Before that, we invite you all to sing the college song, Carissima, the text of which you will find in your program.
The capacity to renew humanity. Therefore, go now into the real world to live well the life that you have been given. Be grateful for the events, persons, talents, and loves which have helped you discover fruitfulness and meaning. Learn to see clearly and deeply. Amid the chaos of life, do not falter in your determination for a better world. Respond to the voices calling you to fulfill your dreams. And may God, or whatever you conceive the divine to be, grant you wisdom, courage, grace, and love, so that you may procure the birthright of joy this day and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you.